I agree that something must change. However, this is not an issue that can be solved by policing alone.
The proposed ordinance is not an accurate reflection of who we are as a city.
I cannot support this ordinance.
3 no votes. And with that, Mayor Ted Wheeler's proposed and highly publicized protest ordinance is stopped dead in its tracks. The mayor wanted the ability to decide the time and place and cap the attendance, among other things, of protests led by groups who have been violent or state they will be.
We need to do something.
Among the 3 dissenters, some commissioners argued current laws are enough to stop violent protests. All 3 had concerns about the constitutionality of the ordinance, and they worried it would be challenged in court.
Any limits on the rights of free speech and public assembly protected in our state and federal constitution are subject to heightened legal scrutiny. In general, government must establish that those limits are a last resort.
A stance echoed by the American Civil Liberties Union of Oregon, who heard about the mayor's hopeful crackdown after the ordinance was drafted.
We should be very, very careful about how we proceed on something like this, because if we do the wrong thing, other places are going to look to us as an example and then follow our lead.
Nevertheless, they said they'd be willing to work with the city on tweaking protest tactics moving forward.
We're trying to do this very difficult balancing act, balance the First Amendment rights of people who want to demonstrate in our community with the rights of other people to go about their daily business and not see the rolling fistfights that we've seen in recent weeks.
Now, Police Chief Danielle Outlaw also said that she wants to work with others on protest tactics, tweaking those tactics moving forward. And speaking of today, we heard rumblings of a protest possibly planned for this weekend. Both the mayor's office and the police bureau say they are still gathering info on that. We'll keep you posted.
Thanks, Maggie. We know you keep an eye on it for us. Appreciate it.